All right. Madam Clerk, if you would call the case for Angel Booker.
All right, the state of Michigan versus Angel Dominique Williams Booker. Ticket number SP 4787631. Speeding 31 plus miles per hour over posted speed. Also, ticket number SP 1478661. Drove while license not valid or improper license.
Thank you. Thank you. Ms. Booker, if you're in the virtual courtroom, please say your name for the record.
Angel Booker.
Thank you. And who's representing Ms. Booker?
Malified on behalf of Ms. Booker, Your Honor. Judge, at this time, we'd be waiving the formal reading, stand mute, and if there are any tickets that are presently in default or warrants that are outstanding, we would be asked that those be recalled as well as the defaults.
Okay, we only know about these tickets that were read on the record. So as to these tickets that were read on the record, the court will set aside the default and recall any outstanding warrant. Now, by way of history, Ms. Booker came in this morning on Zoom, but was not scheduled on our docket. Ms. Booker represented to the court clerk that she missed her court date. Or no, she represented to the court that her court date was today. I think I have this right. But when the clerk looked at the docket, her date was actually October the 12th. So by our information in the courthouse, she missed her actual court date. But because she's come in today, we have attempted to accommodate her by letting her matter be heard by the court and Mr. Malified having you speak to her. So we will go ahead, Mr. Malified, if you're asking for a not guilty plea.
Again, Judge, that's what we would be doing, to continue a plea. If not guilty, ask for a pretrial date.
All right, and we will enter a not guilty plea for you on all matters. We will give you a pretrial date of November 30. Now make this notation so that you don't get confused again. November 30, 8:30 in the morning. Put that in your calendar. Otherwise, the warrant goes out again. So November 30, 8:30 in the morning. And we will give you a personal bond. It will be a Zoom connection. So the same way you connected today, you will connect on November 30. Ms. Booker, you wanted to ask me something?
Yes, I would like the Zoom meeting ID number.
It's the same number you called.
Oh, the okay, 360-335-0000.
Correct.
Okay, I just want to make sure. Thank you.
Yes, it's the same number you called. That you stated it correctly. Okay, and we're giving you a personal bond. It means you do not have to pay any money, but just return on the 30th at 8:30. Any other
I have it in.
Anything else?
No, Your Honor.
All right, ma'am, you may disconnect. You may disconnect. Now,
I have one question, Your Honor.
yes, ma'am.
Was that a pretrial or a bench trial?
Pretrial.
Pretrial, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
And there's one other person in the waiting room. I don't know who it is. It's Moto G7.
This may be Mr. Bryant trying to, remember his connection was horrible. So this may be to get back in.
Okay, before we put him on, well, we can put him on live stream if we can. But is there anyone else other than Mr. Bryant that either of you know of?
Not I know of, Judge.
Okay,
No, Your Honor.
who is this? Moto G7. Was that you, Mr. Bryant?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's a better connection. Let's see if we can. Is it Eric Theodore Bryant?
Yes, ma'am.
SP 146-93432. Eric Theodore Bryant, driver's license suspended. Mr. Bryant, please say your name for the record.
Eric Theodore Bryant.
Thank you. Who's representing Mr. Bryant?
Jane Carver, P 73285, on behalf of Mr. Bryant.
This is,
Mr. Bryant is here for an arraignment on a bench warrant. We'd ask that you recall the warrant and enter not guilty plea and waive the formal reading.
so ordered. We will recall the warrant.
Mr. Bryant has a couple of matters in default, but Attorney Geringer did address those and in a global offer, and Mr. Bryant would like to take advantage of that.
Okay, I don't know those cases. You're gonna read those into the record for the court reporter?
Did the clerk find them? Because I did not.
Does someone have them, Mr. Geringer or Madam Clerk?
Are
Judge,
they
I don't have them pulled up. I think I was just
I
informed
believe they're on
of what the
same
charges
ticket.
were.
Are they on the same ticket?
I don't have the ticket. I don't know.
I'm looking for them now. I was just aware of this.
Sorry about that. I thought-
So did you know how many, Ms. Carver, you know how many?
He said it was 2 for improper equipment and disobeying traffic control device. And I believe they're on the same ticket because he misset them all and then.
Well, let me check, because he actually has several. See which ones are on the same ticket.
Is the physical ticket in the courtroom?
Okay, so it's counts 1 and 3.
Thank
You want
you.
me to get them on the record right now?
Yes, please.
Okay, so ticket number, this is for Eric Theodore Bryant. Ticket number SP 146933431, disregarding a traffic device. Ticket number SP 146933432, drove while license suspended. Ticket number SP 146933433, improper equipment. Yep, those were all together.
Okay, so that is actually 4 matters. Mr. Bryan had 4 matters. Is that correct?
No, I just read all 3 of them. The count 2 is the misdemeanor that is scheduled for today.
Okay, so the other 2, okay, thank you. Thank you. And Ms. Carver, what was the offer? We will take the remaining 2 matters out of default. Is that what you asked me to do?
Yes.
Okay, we will set aside the default in those 2 matters. And now, how is Mr. Bryant proceeding?
Count 1, improper equipment, will be dismissed. Count 2 will be reduced to fail to display a valid license, and count 3 will be reduced to limited access speeding 1 to 5 over.
Okay. All right, Mr. Bryant, you've heard the representation of your lawyer. Are you in agreement with that representation?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Bryant, normally, sir, you would have the right to an in-person hearing in the 36th District Court, but because of the pandemic, the courthouse is conducting certain matters on the Zoom technology, and you've agreed to participate on that Zoom technology today. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Please raise your right hand and be sworn. Sir, do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes, ma'am.
You may lower your hand, Mr. Bryant. Did you have an opportunity to speak to your attorney about all of your rights?
Yes, ma'am.
Did anyone threaten you, force you, or promise you anything in exchange for your plea?
No, ma'am.
Are you pleading guilty of your own free will?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you pleading guilty because you are actually guilty?
Yes, ma'am.
And sir, do you understand that by pleading guilty, you will be waiving or giving up your right to a trial?
Yes, ma'am.
And sir, knowing that you are waiving your right to a trial, you wish to plead guilty anyway. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Bryant, on the date, the time, and the location indicated in the ticket ending in 93432, were you driving a motor vehicle in the city of Detroit?
Yes, ma'am.
And were you stopped by a police officer?
Yes, ma'am.
Did that officer ask you for a valid driver's license?
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, did you have a valid driver's license to show that officer?
No, ma'am.
All right, Ms. Carver, are you satisfied?
Yes, Your Honor.
The court will accept the guilty plea. We will also accept the recommendation to amend that charge to failure to display. Mr. Bryant, on the same date, same time, same location, in the ticket ending in 93433, did that officer ask you for did you have
That's
improper?
just gonna be a responsible plea, Judge. I believe
Oh, okay, that's because that's a civil
on
infraction.
the,
Improper equipment.
no, failure to stop at a light, or excuse
Okay.
me, disregarding a traffic control signal.
Thank you, Mr. Bryant. That because that matter is a civil infraction, I really don't need your factual basis. I merely need you to plead responsible. And you're telling me, Mr. Geringer, it was to actually a red light charge?
Yes, I believe that's disregarding a traffic control device, which shall be amended to limited access speeding 1 to
Okay, but
5.
I thought it was read into the record as improper equipment.
There's an improper equipment, a civil infraction as well. That one is being dismissed.
So how many matters do you have that Mr. Bryant?
There are three matters. The plea was accepted on the failure to
Hey,
display.
Disregarding the traffic signal was count 1. That's what I have. Isn't that right?
No, Your Honor, the improper equipment was count 1.
Oh, okay. So the traffic ticket was count 1. Okay, my error.
Your Honor, count 1 is disregarding the traffic device.
Okay, that was my mistake then. I apologize. Count 1 then would be reduced to limited access 1 to 5 from the disobeying the traffic control device. And then it must be count 3, improper equipment will be dismissed. I apologize. That was my fault.
Okay, and it's, it seems like a little thing. It isn't, because the record needs to be clear and the the reporting into the system needs to be clear.
No, I understand. I must have misheard the clerk because I just wrote a 1 and a 3 in the wrong spot.
Okay, so the plea of responsible is to the ticket ending in 93431. To be clear. And the plea of guilty is to the ticket ending in 93432. Okay, so as to the plea of responsible for disregarding the traffic signal, Mr. Bryant, on that date, time, and location, to disregard a traffic signal.
Yes, ma'am.
You're pleading responsible to that. The court will also accept the recommendation to amend that charge to speeding 1 to 5 miles over the speed limit, limited access. And the fine for that limited access is $105. The fine for failure to display is going to be $175 plus the mandatory costs, which total $235. So when added together, 235 plus 105, the total is $340.
Mm,
235 and 105
mm.
is $340. And the time frame for payment is 30 days. Mr. Bryant, are you able to pay that amount in 30 days, sir?
I'm gonna go put it with the rest of my tickets on my payment plan.
You already have a payment plan?
Yes, ma'am.
So, Mr. Bryant, how long have you been without a valid driver's license?
Well, that was years ago, and then they just recently gave it back to me. And mishaps by me moving, that's what got me, going through this again.
So
He can get it back in October next year, though, and that's what he's planning to do.
well,
Yeah.
October next year, honey, that's a long time away.
No,
So what are you gonna do? You cannot drive without a valid driver's license, sir.
I
So,
know that
so for a year, you're gonna have to take Uber or something, Mr. Bryant. Otherwise, sir, you'll have a payment plan forever.
Well, that's my way of getting everything out the way, ma'am. I mean, that was the best options.
Well, Mr. Bryant, have you ever heard anyone say that if you keep doing the same thing the same way and getting the same result, that's a sign of insanity? You can't keep driving without a license and think anything's going to change, because it's illegal to drive without a driver's license, sir. Are you employed, Mr. Bryant?
No, ma'am.
How do you support yourself?
My
I'm gonna
wife
ask you
is
the last